word. We'll do it. I mean, we're better than we were a year ago, and we'll continue to get better. So
For sure. I know. Yeah, Mark, you continue to live on caffeine, nicotine, chalupas, and cinnamon twists. Nothing wrong
and
with
Chalupas.
that.
Baja Blast, dude.
Yeah.
God bless you. I like
Boone's
the
Farm.
Sparty, I thought it was a great opportunity to one catch up with you. I haven't caught up with you. We talked a little bit on the phone. You know, you're an OG. We've done the
Yeah.
podcast a long time ago, and I haven't really had a chance to catch up with you in a deep way for a long time. So first, I'm glad to see you, and thanks for doing this.
But Dalton, I think we might have done one of the first like 100 podcasts ever recorded in podcast history, like 15 years ago. So
Yeah,
it's cool to be back around full circle.
yeah, it was definitely one of the originals. So Sparty, I wanted to talk. I wanted to start. Obviously, you're the official head coach, right? This year is your first year as a head coach.
No, Anthony Cercione is still the head coach, but with Nate Fitzenreiter stepping down from like his like head assistant role, I've kind of moved into that
Okay.
position.
Well,
Yeah.
cool. But before we get to Marmion stuff, I wanted to introduce anybody who's new, kind of because a lot of listeners might just be newer parents, people who haven't been around.
Sure.
I want to introduce them to Sparty Chino. So first, where are you originally from, and what high school did you go to?
Sure. So I'm from Wheaton, Illinois, born and raised, still live there today. I went to Wheaton Warrenville South High School, actually. Yeah,
Okay.
graduated in 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
And I wanted to jump into 2011 because, you're state champ. You've 2011 state champ. Let me pull this up real quick. See the old bracket. Old bracket.
That's a fun bracket right there.
Yeah. 3A. So the big classes there was now was that how many years was there 3 classes at that point? I think only a couple of years.
Started my sophomore year. So my freshman year we were still 2 classes, and then sophomore year we went into the 3 division. So I was always in 3A.
Yeah. So you had some good matches here.
Yeah, it's pretty it's fun to look back at this bracket. I always like tease like I'm happy that I was the old guy in the bracket at the time because there's some like absolute hammers all throughout there. My first round match I had a kid named Michael Wolf from OPRF, and I had a pretty bad OPRF string of state matches the last couple of years. I wrestled Ardanes the year prior.
Yep.
Wrestled Ellis Coleman the year before that. So it was nice to get a win over an OPRF guy. But Mike Wolf, he ended up being a NCAA qualifier for the Naval Academy. And then next round, I wrestled Jake Residore, who was like a training partner of mine. He was a state champ the next year. He was an All-American at SIUE. And then Matt Nora was just like, that was a guy that was probably like one of the hardest guys you ever wrestled. Just wrestled nonstop, wrestled for Griff Powell. So, he was just always coming with absolute heat. Just the kid, like after you wrestled the match with him, you're like, God, I do not want to wrestle him again. But he was actually, the way that bracket shaked out, we were actually the 1 and 2 ranked kids in the state. So that was a match I was really, really nervous for. And we just wrestled so many times prior.
And then again, they didn't have the seeds, right? I think that wasn't seeded.
The thing with Matt was Matt had a lot of like good freestyle success, but he had never really put it together in the folk style season for the years past for one reason or another. So he just didn't have the seeding criteria.
Okay, but they did seed that point.
Yeah, they did. The seeding was similar to what it is today, but he just didn't have seeding criteria. But then and then on the finals, I had Sean Quay McMurtry, who was a state champ the next year. He was an NCAA qualifier at NIU, wrestled Nebraska, then went to NIU. So some pretty tough kids all throughout. And then on the other side, kids that I didn't wrestle. Ricky Robertson, I think, was a 4-time national qualifier, a couple-time Fargo champ. You got Nate Jackson in there. He's a 2-time All-American, state champ. Then a couple other guys in there.
He just beat Carter Strachey.
Yeah, so some hammers all throughout again, but I was the old guy in that class, so I was fortunate to come away with the bracket.
Yeah. Well, that's good. State champ. Glad to see it. Now,
Yes.
again, you were. I looked at some of your old matches and stuff, and just again from memory, just knowing that you were always like a high energy type of guy. You always wanted to wrestle hard and just nonstop. So, what did you end up doing after high school? You went on to college, but you went
Yeah.
to University of Ohio.
Yeah, I went to Ohio University in Athens.
Uh,
I was a four-time national qualifier there. I was always kind of like a fringe guy, like in and out of the top 20, like in the top 10, like once or twice. I was a blood rounder my junior year. Just college wrestling's tough. It's a really, really brutal, unforgiving sport, and it's just a very long season. So I would always find myself kind of in pieces towards the end of it. And I think, you talk about like an explosive style and like high energy. I think that was something that I had to curate and adjust as my career went on. I think like my first 2 years wrestling at the national tournament, I was just bandaged up from head to toe. And then you kind of have to realize it's a long 7 minutes. You can give up a score here or there and try to keep pace to win later. But yeah, I mean, the career didn't go the way that I wanted it to. I think as a man, you always want a little bit more, and as a competitor, you're always trying to. Like I had a state title. I was happy about that, but like I always look back, I go, man, I should have been a 3-timer. You always have these thoughts, like I should have done this and more. So I think, with everything considered, I'm pretty happy with how it all went. But I think that's what keeps you in the sport today, is a lot of tough lessons, a lot of lessons learned that you want to pay forward and pass to this next group of kids, and that's why I'm still around.
Well, I found a video and I wanted to show, a little bit of Sparty, just the athleticism. And I found this clip. I thought it was perfect. I think you were wrestling Ian Miller, who Ian Miller was an All-American. And he had one of what was his, I forget. There's a call that at the NCAA tournament, but this is a great display of what you're capable of. I don't know if you remember this spot. Elusive.
Yeah, that's actually I actually got a concussion doing that, so definitely don't recommend that. Ian Miller was just an absolute fiend to wrestle. That was a guy that you looked at the schedule, and I always described him as just a more athletic version of myself. He just had so much firepower, and he could go, 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 go. And yeah, I mean, lost to Imar in the semis one year. He had that really controversial call with Brian Real Buto where he actually had more points, but then they ended up scoring the match wrong, which I don't know how you do that at the biggest stage in our sport. But yeah, he was a hammer.
Yeah, and whatever. I mean, I can't do that. I've seen it so many times. I think Jason Knopf is really good at that. Bo Nichols good at that. I'm just not good at that. If you're gonna mat return me, I'm getting to my knees and climbing back up. I'm not rolling like that.
Yeah, I think like a big thing with my coaching philosophy is like do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
I try to. We talk about like the longevity factor. I try to show the guy some things that will probably extend their career and avoid some of those head issues.
Yeah, sometimes you can't avoid the inevitable. I mean, but again, that position, a lot of guys are doing that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it takes a special type of athlete to be able to time that out and roll with it and stuff. I'm not that guy. But now today you're coaching at Marmion. What I was curious about, after college you came back, and I believe was that the first place you started coaching?
So I finished so I went to Ohio, right, and I studied there for 5 years. Did the red shirt route. I got my undergrad in 4 years, and my 5th year of eligibility, I actually got my MBA. So went through, got my master's, and I landed a job working for Amazon in like fulfillment operations, and I was like super excited. I got the job in the summertime, post graduation. You're ready to work, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna start you up in like at the end of the wintertime. We don't hire during the peak season. So I'm sitting there telling my mom I got a new job, and she's like, when do you start? I'm like 6 months. So I needed something to do. So I called Coach Greenlee, and my first stop was the first semester at Ohio. I actually helped coach over there. I was on as a volunteer assistant at Ohio University. I was like taking the red shirt and stuff on the van, taking them all the tournaments around there, coaching at the duels. And then our last tournament that I had coached at was the Midlands. And when I was coaching at the Midlands, because I was going to start work up in February, and I was like, yeah, it's a good time for me to kind of just settle in, move back home, and get everything right and situated. Well, at the Midlands, I saw Donnie Reynolds, and Donnie was one of my first coaches at Overtime School of Wrestling. And at that time, Donnie was the head coach at Marmion Academy, and he had brought the kids over to Marmion. We had caught up, had a good conversation. He had asked me what I was doing, and told him I was coming back home to work for Amazon. And he's like, well, we got some tough kids around your size, and what'd you feel about coming in once or twice a week to roll with them? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem, I'll come on in. Just thought I'd kept myself busy, and here we are 10 seasons later, and I'm still around. So Donnie kind of tricked me into joining. But once I came into the room, I think, I'm a public school guy, and I'm the only state champ in my school's history, and we have a really storied athletic program. But when it came to wrestling, it really wasn't much. We had a pretty good group of guys. My senior year, we had a few state qualifiers. My best friend was state finalist right before me, and I just didn't. I didn't really have a culture of wrestling, at least at the high school level. To get that back when I was in high school, you had to go to overtime, and you had to go to overtime, or you had to go to Izzy to go find those types of training environments. And I think, coming into that Marmion room, and Donnie, being an overtime coach, being part of that Bourmet tree, I just felt at home immediately. And then I have a lot of history with the Jaffes, the Grecos, and the Silvestros. I grew up with all those kids. We all wrestled on the dual teams and whatnot together growing up. So it just felt like a right fit. And there's something super empowering about, talking to high school adolescent kids and having them listen. And I think my first time coaching, I was able to coach in the state finals my first season there, and I was just hooked. And I was like, man, this is, it was that little extension of yourself, right? Your athletic career ends, and I think you kind of have a little bit of an identity crisis on who am I? Your whole life has been geared around winning a state title, then winning a national title, and if you're not going to continue on after that, if you're not going to fight MMA, then you're kind of sitting there looking at corporate America, and it's kind of scary, right? You don't really know who you are. So I think that point of my life, getting involved at Marmion was crucial for me, so I could kind of keep level-headed and not completely throw away a part of my life that, has made me who I am today, and has given me a lot of the opportunities that I've had.
Yeah. It's critical. It's critical for people to continue to wrestle, right? If you stop, if you've been doing it for such a long time, it can be hazardous to your mental health for sure. And when you get into coaching, it's just another opportunity to keep exercising and keep doing the game that you like. And it's a lot of fun it's important to keep doing it, right?
My college coach, Coach Joel Greenlee. He's in his 50s now, and he still gets on the mat a couple times a week. And he's like, once you stop, you can never really start up again, be the same way. So I still roll. I still train actively with the kids. This year I'm trying to take a step back, right? Without having Nate in the room is it's a big void, and he's one of the best technicians and tacticians in the state. So definitely taking a step back and being a lot more of that leader of the room. So I got to get my workouts in a little bit of another way. But yeah, you got to stay engaged, and you still got to be able to scrap. You can't be talking about technique, showing technique if you can't really hit it yourself. That's kind of always been my flaw. And that was something I think was ingrained with us when we grew up at Overtime. John Kading, Sean Bourmet, Donnie, Kerry Bowmans, Ed Geezy, even Ed, in his 50s, my God, he'd get the legs in on you and it was over. So I think it was just what we saw growing up, and it's definitely been a mold that we've tried to continue on with.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear. Well, so you're at Marmion. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on and talk with you, not only to obviously hear a little bit more about Sparty, but Marmion, the first tournament of the year is the Cadet Classic. Is that the official term?
Sometimes we call it Cadet Catastrophe, but yes, on paper it's the Cadet Classic.
And this is only how many years has this been running?
It's the second annual Cadet Classic, yeah.
Second annual. And what's crazy about this is how good it is so quickly. And it's probably one of the best, if not the best, one-day high school tournament in the country. I'll give it to Mark. What do you think about where it stacks up as far as a one-day high school tournament?
As a one day, it's huge. I mean, it's rare you would see that caliber of programs, that many high caliber programs in a one day event.
Yeah. And how did you guys, how did it come to be? I mean, it's only been 2 years. So how did it go from, okay, here, and then now it's like, holy crap, like there's like a lot of state championship matches happening first week of competition.
I think a lot of networking at the state tournament last year, talked as well at like the freestyle state tournament this year. And I think there's a willingness from all the top, I think when you look at the top programs in the state, like you might have like a down year here and there, but I think the number one thing that you can align on is a willingness to compete. And I think we've all, we have a certain level of respect for one another after competing like versus each other for state titles for the last years. And with that's come like a certain camaraderie, understanding, and a friendship. And like, honestly, like, believe it or not, a lot of it was just me coming up to guys like at the locker room at the state tournament going, hey guys, we're throwing together something pretty special here first week in November. And the way that I spun it to all the coaches that we got on board, I know the Washington guys, I kind of kept pestering them all week on it. But the thing was, hey, there's nothing worse than the kids being unable to spend Thanksgiving with their family, right? I remember the worst feeling for me when I'd wrestle in high school was, I remember my freshman and sophomore year specifically, because we had a great football team. So I played football through, like, we won state my junior and senior year. So thankfully I didn't have to make weight after Thanksgiving those days. But I remember my freshman and sophomore year, like, it was like some like brutal Thanksgiving weight cuts to where I didn't get to enjoy the meal. And that's just what we kind of spun it to all the coaches, is like, hey, and it's not really as much of a spin. It's a pretty easy sell. We're going to get some of the top guys. And it started with Coach Heffernan last year. Coach Heffernan was like one of the first guys to hop on board. I remember me and him talked about it at the NCAA tournament 2 years ago for like the inaugural. And he was on board. And I think like when you get a guy like him involved, people start to tend to follow. Like, hey, if Hef's going to be on board, there's obviously got to be something good going on over here. So just kind of networked everyone. It's like, hey, we don't want your kids to cut weight on Thanksgiving. Let's have everyone enjoy it. And like, you're not going to get a better tournament than this, right? And you're going to get some previews of state finals matches. You're going to get a lot of nationally ranked kids wrestling each other. Like the second day of like the competitive season, like you can't beat it. So that was the selling point. I think we underestimated how good of salesmen we were, because a lot of folks just kept saying, we're in.
Yeah.
So right now it's a one-day tournament. The plan is for each kid to get 5 matches while they're there. We got Tim Weiler. He's on staff helping out this year. And I mean, he's the track guru. So he's going to make sure that this is the smoothest running one-day tournament in the state. I mean, last year it was super smooth. We got in and out. And I mean, Tim does a phenomenal job. All the parents on staff do a great job as well. The SCN families come through and help. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit different this year, but we got a bunch of mats. We're going to have the field house and the main gymnasium pumping. And the biggest thing is kids are going to come in. They're going to weigh in once. They're going to get a lot of matches. They're going to get to enjoy the next day with their family. So nothing better than that.
Hey, Sparty, I got a question. Who able, like, I know Brandon Lorick over at Crown Point. How did you guys get Crown Point and Portage involved?
So Tony Cincioni's got a lot of Indiana ties. I know like him and Angel Escobedo are incredibly close. We had Angel come in run a clinic for us a couple weeks back. We go and wrestle out at the Carnahan every year, and I think we kind of started the network at that tournament with those guys. Like, hey, we're doing this, and Tony's got again real good relationship with the Crown Point guys. We're kind of just able to leverage that, and we go to the Carnahan. It's been great. We want to build this into something similar to the Carnahan. We've been going to the Carnahan for the last, I think, 5 or 6 years, and like that has grown to like a powerhouse tournament. You got Ed's over there. We had Bishop McCourt there. Obviously Brownsburg, a top tier team in Indiana as well. So that's kind of been how we've gotten them. And we really wanted to go even further. I've got a lot of connections in Ohio. They're just unable to travel that last week of November. So the thought process was, let's just try to get as many powerhouse teams and like the surrounding states in as we can.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to see. Yeah, I'm excited about it. We did a little bit of a ranking show, if you will, and we just looked at some of these teams and whether it's the freshmen that they have coming in or returners. There's going to be some good competition. Could you jump in and kind of just give us a little rundown? I mean, you guys are loaded. You guys are returning state champs from last year. Your lineup is tough, and could you kind of give us a little rundown of the lineup and what you guys have set up this year?
Yeah, it's exciting. We have 11 returning state qualifiers coming back this season. We got some couple young guys that are entering the fold, like a Caden Morrison. He's like IK champ, real tough. His brother Preston was a third place finisher for us the year before. We got a hammer from Yorkville in Brody Page. He was IK state champ, runner up the year prior. His uncle was Ryan Ferguson, who was my head coach in high school. So was able to get set up years back with Brody. He's been coming in from that connection with the Ferguson family, and really happy to have him join the squad. So I think as the weights shake out, I think we have an idea of where we're going to line up with the kids. I think there's going to be some discussions with them and like amongst themselves. I think the big thing this season is incredibly team led. We have a phenomenal group of 6 seniors led by Nick Garcia, Demetrius Carrera. You got Vinny Testa, Joey Favia, Ashton Hobson, and gosh, who am I missing? I say 6. I'm forgetting one of them right now.
Zach Stewart.
Zach Stewart. How could I forget Zach? Right? I mean, we just have like a phenomenal crew, and we've been coaching these guys since they were in middle school, and we're really honing in on own your development and like being owners of the team. So they're going to kind of at the end of the year kind of help. We'll talk through and decide where everyone ends up like in their final weight class. I know we always love to talk about Marmion and where kids end up with their weights, but I promise you there's a lot of decision making that goes on behind the scenes with the kids as well there. But I think to start it off, right, we're gonna have Colton Weiler leading us at 106. I know him and Odiati have had a couple tough matches to start the year off, but I think they're both like the top 2 kids. Preston Morrison is a returning 3rd place kid. He's coming in. He's really filling out. I mean, him and Colton were both like undersized 6-pounders last year, and now they're just both massive. And they put on a lot of size, do a lot of strength training, each of them. So it's good to see those guys really come into the fold. And I think, going into next year, they'll be like 120, 126 pounders, 132 pounders. They're both growing like dramatically. 120 will have Brody Page. He'll be in the fold there. Really excited to watch him compete at the high school level. Then you're going to have Aiden McClure at 26. Aiden's grown and keeps growing. He is going to have a big frame to fill out, but for right now, we're gonna try to keep the sloth at 126, and then Nick Garcia, he's gonna be at 26, 32, kind of be folding the kids. I think the big thing with us is we want to give the kids opportunities to certify at like their lowest possible weights in case there's opportunity at a big tournament, or realistically, like a big thing for us last season is we had kids certified at weights that people didn't know, like at their lowest weight, that like they ultimately didn't wrestle at the state series. Like I remember like Ashton Hobson was a 150 pounder, but he was certified at 44, but gives us a lot of opportunity and flexibility to get the kids shifted around come that postseason time and make some favorable matchups for us. But Nicholas will be at 32. You'll have Zach Stewart and Dimitri between that 38 and 44 pound weight class with one another, give us more flexibility there. Then you'll have Ashton Hobson, Grayson Garcia. Grayson Garcia, he's part of that Garcia lineage. He's kind of been he's been a guy who's tried to find his spot in the lineup, and he's done everything he can for the team, but he's put on some good size and he's put in a lot of good work this offseason. So it's going to be exciting to see him scrap. Then at 65, we got a young kid, Michael Skura. He's a 165 pounder. Another kid named Alex Corpin that we're kind of going to bump through. between those weights. Then we're going to have Vinny Testa. He's returning state qualifier at 75. He'll be right around there at the 90 mark. And then at 215 and heavyweight, we're going to have a combination of Joey Favia and Luke Boersma. Joey, couple-time All-American, state runner-up. Luke, I mean, he's a Boersma. They just get big and strong. And he's kind of been like a baby deer the first 2 years of high school. But when you look at him now, he is starting to resemble more and more of his older brother. So he is coming into form. He's looking as athletic as could be. And I am running out of excuses to not wrestle those heavy guys anymore. So that's kind of us top and bottom. But another guy that I didn't mention in there was a returning state qualifier is Logan Conover. He qualified as a freshman, had some injuries that plagued him throughout the course of the year last year, but he's going to be another guy that's going to be competing through that 138 to 144, 150 mark. So a lot of depth. And then there's a whole slew of kids that I didn't mention that have a lot of potential to be state qualifiers right around there.
Yeah. It's got to be a challenge to figure out the weight stuff with so many good kids, because I've talked to so many people about how hard it is to go the weight class that's maybe best for you isn't always best for the team, and trying to like work that out is such a challenge. And I'm sure there's a lot of communication, a lot of figuring it out. And
I think something this year that's really going to help is the new format for the state series. I always thought it was just incredibly unfair to the kids to have that team sectional on Tuesday. And I think that's something that really is factored into a lot of our decisions. We had a couple of guys last year that probably could make a weight for a day, or 2 or 3 maybe, but making it 3 days in a row and then coming back, making it Tuesday and then making it on Friday and Saturday, it's tough. So we're doing what we can to, give our kids the best opportunity to compete, not just for a day, but for an extended period of time. And the style that we wrestle, it's conducive to high energy and feeling your best. So, like I said, I really like what the IHSA did this year. I don't know if I say that all that often, but I like what they did this year in regards to the schedule. I think it makes a much more fair opportunity for the kids, and it really puts them first, which is what we should always be doing here.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it a little bit. Still, it was actually news to me when I first saw it, and definitely probably better for the guys that are competing. So many guys are competing at the high school state tournament. The quick turnaround is just a hard thing to do on the body.
I honestly, a lot of people don't know about it still. So probably talk about it. That'd be good. A lot of people I know that are even parents of kids that are currently wrestling that are good kids, they don't know that this is happening.
Yeah. Well, we are the press release, Mark.
Yeah. Honestly, like when I was coming through high school, I never really thought much about Team State because we had Glenbard North in our regional every year, and I just knew that like it was never going to be a thing. We were never going to beat them. So I never really thought too much about it. And since I started helping out at Marmion, I really noticed like the team dynamic and like how important it is and special it is to these kids. And I think there's a lot of goodness to it. Helps kids get healthy throughout the course of the year. I mean, the season's tough, and when you wrestle a schedule like ours, when you finish that state tournament, it can be pretty deflating for a lot of kids, and maybe you don't get the best version of themselves coming back, having to make their weight again on a Tuesday. So I mean, the way it's going to work out this year is you're going to have your regional, the winner of the regionals, they're going to move on to the team sectionals the next week, where you would have had your individual sectionals. That's going to be pushed back to the week of when you would have had an original IHSA state. So I think that for the folks that aren't qualifying for team sectionals, it gives those kids a opportunity to recalibrate, reset, and add a little bit more time, get healthy so they can compete to their highest ability at the individual sectional, which is then another tough 2-day tournament before moving into the toughest 3-day tournament. So all in all, I'm really excited for it, and I think the kids are really happy about it as well.
Great. Well, guys, I'll pass it over to you guys. You guys have any questions for him? I think he did a great job explaining a lot of things about Marmion.
Yeah.
I guess I got a question. So you said 5 matches. I've been told that you guys are going to run the bracket format similar to the Donnybrook, placing all the way out.
Correct. Yeah. That's I think Tim said like the way the bracket's formatted, it's like it's where you could fit like top 32. Like you'd place up to 32, even though there's only gonna be 28 teams. So yeah, we're gonna know 1 through 28. And I think even for that kid who places 28th, the great part about those types of brackets is they do a really good job of pairing you with like matchups. So like maybe you're not going to be as talented as some of those kids in the bracket. And when you look at some of these weight classes, you're going to have anywhere from 5 to 8 kids that are ranked in the state. So you might have a hammer or two your first 2 matches, but the way that like that Donnybrook system works is it just pairs each kid with like skill level kids, like in accordance to how they fall in the bracket. And whether you go 5-0 or you go 0-5, you're going to get match time. You're going to get some exposure. You're going to get exposed, and all in all, it just there's nothing worse for kids or for families to just watch their kid go 1-2 or 0-2. So get some matchups, and it's a tough sport, and probably going to be some tough lessons learned. But you get a nice Thanksgiving turkey the next day, so they'll be all right.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Guys, anything?
I don't really know Sparty all that well. Him and I share a mutual friend who's an extremely critical person, we'll say, and I've never heard anything good about him. So, like, I've always heard like nothing but good.
Yeah.
But I think this tournament, we went to it last year, was awesome. It was an awesome tournament. I think last year was 2 days though, I believe that, right? They weighed in the night before. Is that true or not? We ended up there the night before, whether we were supposed to or not. I think we did.
Maybe guys ended up there just like from a travel purpose, or I don't know. I don't even remember how the weather was. If it was bad weather, but it was just a 1-day tournament last year as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim gets there early always.
Yeah.
I don't blame
I like to be ready.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Mark, you got anything?
Yeah. So I'm really interested in the freshmen that are coming in. So you got Little Morrison, and you got Brody. Those are like your 2 big name freshmen that are coming in.
Yeah.
And you're so loaded that Little Morrison's probably not. Did I catch that? Is he not going to?
He's gonna have Colton Weiler that he's gonna have to scrap with to get the starting spot. And I think I think if you look at a guy like Colton, you look at a guy like Preston, they didn't get to start their freshman year. They sat behind Logan Conover, who was a hammer in his own right. A couple-time IK state champ, beat them, and but they grew, they developed, and then even last year you had Preston and Colton. They wrestled off a few times throughout the course of the year, and my goodness, like I wish that those guys would create some separation because they were just back and forth. When I say back and forth, like you could have just flipped a coin and that's how that match was going to go. They were just so equally matched. But at the end of the season, Preston ended up winning the 2 out of 3, and he was able to move into that 106 mark, placed 3rd in the state, and the next spot that Colton was able to make in the lineup was 120. So he still weighed in at 106. So he kept his weight cert, which I don't think was really hard for him. He didn't cut any weight for 6 really. But yeah, you had a kid who weighed all of 106 pounds and qualified for the state tournament at 120. So yeah, it's a lot of depth, a lot of toughness, but I think the kids, they gain a lot of it. And I think that's probably one of the things that we've struggled with at Marmion over the course of the 10 seasons that I've been there is everyone wants their kid to be a 4-time state champ. And like, by God, if they can be a 4-time state champ, but that's awesome. But if you can't beat the kid that's going to be in that room, you're probably not going to be a 4-time state champ, right? There's probably going to be someone else who's going to beat you. So, we've lost kids that have trained with us since they were in 5th grade because they wanted to go somewhere else to where they could get on the mat. And like, by all means, I don't discredit that. But I think the one thing that you get at Marmion Academy, and not to talk ill of really any other programs, but it's something I didn't get until I was there. Like I was a public school kid. I always had a thought of private schools and really a negative connotation on that. But like these families and these kids, they make an investment to come to this school, both with their time, the distance that they travel, the financial implications of going to a private school. So they make this investment in their family so that like the sport and the school in of itself can open up doors for them that might not have been possible somewhere else. So if you stay the course here, we have a pretty strong track record of goodness that will come from the sport. The amount of kids that we've sent to wrestle to the Ivy League, to wrestle in the Big Ten, wrestle in the Division I level, it's pretty incredible, and it's something that you really don't understand until you walk through those doors and you see the investment that the families make to go here. So kids may not start right away, but like I think all in all, Mark, you play the long game and you get a lot of good out of it.
Well, yesterday Mark and I were arguing because I think we need to introduce multiple kids on a team getting to be able to compete in postseason stuff at high school and college. I would love to see 2 Marmion guys in the state finals. I would love to see, 2 whatever.
Don't say that too loud. I don't think a lot of people would like that, but I hear you. I know it's like the NAIA policy, right? Like they'll enter like a certain amount of guys per weight. I know like at the Donnybrook, we could enter some guys like at the same weight class to get scoring and whatnot. But you know what? Ultimately, I think it's just kind of a lesson in life. Sometimes you're not going to be the guy, and in the stage of wrestling that we are in with the transfer portal, which I think has a lot of really positives to it. I think a lot of kids when I was in college got pigeonholed into some positions that weren't really fair to them. But we have such an ability in collegiate sports and kind of like sports rolling down now that we're like, hey, if you don't like something or you have some adversity, kids aren't benefiting by not working through that or like progressing themselves and maybe looking in the mirror to identify, hey, what can I do to progress? What can I do differently? This guy in my own room is beating me. Like, what can I learn? Instead of looking at them as like, a barrier, just think about them as like, hey, what can they do to catapult you to that next level? And maybe it's not going to be your first year. Maybe it's not even going to be your second. But like ultimately that's for the kids and their families to decide. And who am I to deter them from what they want to do? But
and like I think one point that I think about that perspective of having multiple kids isn't necessarily that it's like some places have a couple kids that might be able to place in state. And I always, we talk a lot about how it's 3 classes, too many classes. How many awards are we giving out? That type of stuff. And I feel like if there's 2 of the top 5 kids in the state on the same weight class on a team, it's like that kid's got to be at the state tournament because they're the top 5 kids. So I look at it from that, just like making sure everybody who's worthy is at the event to compete. But I hear what you're saying.
I mean, I think there's a lot of merit there. I think that sometimes I scratch my head when I look at some of these top tier programs like the Iowas, the Oklahoma States, the Penn States, and you see the guys that are not starting that would be potential All-Americans somewhere else. But I think as competitors too, like Dalton, something I remember in our first podcast.
You remember that?
14, 15 years ago, you and I talked about you wrestled Priest in the state finals twice, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I remember going into that, I talked to you about, because for me at that point, like I took so much merit in my resume and like being a state champion and like, hey, well, I do what I can to be a state champion. I remember I asked you, a young Dalton Bullard there, right? And I think you had this fire in your eyes when I said, hey, Dalton, why didn't you go up another weight? Why didn't you go down a weight? And you said, because I wanted to go after him and I wanted to beat him. Right. And it didn't happen. It didn't go the way that you necessarily wanted it. But at that point in life, like I think that is an incredibly formative moment for you in your life that has shaped you to be who you are today. And I think the kids that like go out and compete, whether it's like in their own school or wherever, right? Like there's a lot to be said for not moving around and trying to be the best that you can. And I think we're in this like, this award society, this merit base, but it's part of that journey that gets you there, right? And like it maybe you don't become an All-American, maybe you don't become a state champion, right? But you get something else that when you look into career paths that you choose down the road, like there's going to be an intrinsic value and some type of motivator that gets instilled to you that's going to make you a better man, make you a better father, make you a better person. So I think it's easy for us to get caught in the high school athletics of what's happening, but ultimately what we're trying to do is make these kids better men. And I remember a Dalton Bullard had that mindset 15 years back, even more. So like, I think it's within all those competitors, those fierce competitors. They think that they're going to get it done, and some don't. But
yeah, no, I
You
love it.
have that recording, Dalton, or is it audio or visual or both?
I'm pretty sure it's just audio. We were pretty low budget back then, and I was still learning the ropes. I mean, I have an old one.
Low budget. I just had a mouse run next to me. No more low budget than what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to look into it, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, there's a lot there, guys. Yep, go ahead.
Sparty about, and I said this a while ago, and I thought, I know, and it's maybe you can't talk about it because it's Nick Garcia, but I've said this for a long time. Like, I really wanted to see Nick Garcia go to Illinois, right? I thought, I didn't know if he'd be a 33 or a 25. I didn't know like how big a kid's, you can never tell. But my big thing was, I was like, the problem with that is that Marmion Academy, if you look historically, you guys have pumped so many kids, and it was a perfect segue, but you said it. You guys have put so many kids at Ivy Leagues. And at the time when like I knew he was on a visit, I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, like the Marmion Academy to an Ivy League pipeline is big. Can you talk a little bit about, if you can? I mean, it's not.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, I don't.
But like,
think Jimmy.
How did that go down? Where it's crazy for me to see Marmion Academy go to Illinois because I'm so used to the Ivy Leagues, like the elite. Illinois is a great academic school too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Garcia is an enigma. He is one of a kind. That is for sure. And he took a visit to Princeton, and he really loved Princeton. He loved the staff there. He loved what they do for you to kind of set you up later on in life. But when he went to Illinois, I think going there his first time, we got to know Poeta, got to know AOC, and he took a liking to them. And I think just following the state tournament, like getting into more and more talks with them. I remember I talked with Poeta after the tournament as well. They're, hey, Sparty, we got a lot of interest in Nick. I think Nick takes a lot of pride in where he's from. I know family, culture, all that's incredibly important to him and the Garcia clan. And I think being close to home was something that was important to him as well, and he's just a competitor. He wants to go after the top kids in the state. He wants to go after the top kids in the country, and it's kind of always been who Nicholas is. I think from a business standpoint, the U of I is going to have a good skill set there for him. But when it comes to the Big Ten, like, he takes a lot of pride in Illinois, and he really likes what's happening down in Champaign, and that staff and him have just connected incredibly well. And for him, it just made the most sense. And his brother Jameson, he went to Harvard, and that's what made a lot of sense for Jameson, and he's doing a lot of great things there educationally, and he's still competing. But Nick is Nick, and he is a one of a kind guy, and I know that he's going to do some phenomenal things, and he's going to make a big splash when he gets there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, great. And I guess I'll finish up just seniors on your roster this year. You got Nick Garcia, you got Zach Stewart, and who else are seniors?
We got, let me not forget them this time, right?
Okay.
You got Dimitri Carrera, you got Ashton Hobson, you've got Vinny Testa, and you got Joey Favia. And those last four guys, they're all still looking for a home to compete at the next level. And I know that.
Go ahead, sir.
No, you're good.
I was just going to say.
Hobson's not. Wait, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Hobson's not committed anywhere.
Hobson, no. The only guys that are committed are or signed at this point, signed are Nicholas and Zach.
I don't know why. I thought Hobson was somewhere. I don't know why.
He is not. He's not.
And with Favia, was Favia injured last year?
Yeah, Joey came off a pretty brutal shoulder surgery.
He didn't place in the state last year, but he was a Fargo All-American.
So his freshman and sophomore year, he was a Fargo All-American. And then he took second in the state as a sophomore, lost an overtime match to Kai Calcutt. And then his junior year, following Fargo and like going into that football season, his shoulder had just really been bothering him. He had a pretty pretty gnarly surgery. And all in all, Joey's a competitor. He came back a little bit too soon, and he wasn't 100% going into last year. Put in a lot of work this offseason, but I think he was still that shoulder can take some time to get back. I think the recovery time that they gave him was like 7-8 months, and he was back wrestling in 3. So it took him throughout the summer to get back to 100%. So he's looking sharp right now, though. Just tough season last year, battling some injuries. So I think that's why when you look in the preseason for Joey this year, we pulled him back. He wanted to go wrestle at Super 32 while he was still playing football, but we wanted to give him the best opportunity to compete, and we held him back because our high school schedule is more than enough for him to get the exposure that he wants and that he's going to get. So he's going to have some opportunities right off the rip to showcase himself, which will be exciting.
Awesome. Well, Sparty, I think that'll do it for us. You did awesome. Very, very, very informative about the program and everything, and great to catch up with you. I will look for that audio and see if we can revisit that podcast. It's a fun time.
Can I get one more Sparty question? It's not about the team; it's about the tournament.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got one more too.
Man, all right.
Go ahead. You go first. Seniority. You go first.
All right. Thanks, Big Jim.
You go first, old timer.
What a guy. 49 tomorrow. Sparty, so you guys have got kids coming from all 3 classes, and you got kids coming from other states. How are you going to handle the seating? I mean, Tim Weiler's awesome. He runs a mean tournament, but how do you do that?
If you guys remember, we ran the freestyle state tournament here for a couple of years, and I think we had like 1,200 people in this joint one season that were one of those tournaments that was competing. So we'll have some space to set up your own like individual seating. I think I would definitely recommend.
No, I'm sorry, seating the wrestlers.
Oh, seating. I thought you meant seating people.
No,
okay.
yeah, no.
Maybe that's
Sorry.
a question for Weiler if he's the
Right.
tournament guy, huh?
Yeah, I would probably have to defer to Tim and see what that process is going to look like.
Cool.
We'll have to get the tournament director on.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, go ahead.
Where are we all going to sit? No. 28 schools.
Yeah.
13 kids are nationally ranked out of those 28. This is me writing stuff down off of a flyer, so it's not like I won't take credit for this. 83 kids from Illinois are ranked in Illinois.
Yeah.
That's that's a badass tournament. It really is. I don't know who's missing as far as like Illinois schools, but I don't think there's many missing that would change things if this was like a team state or something,
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to get IC in there. I think it'd be fun to get
Oh, yeah.
Montini.
Yep.
I think it'd be fun to get Montini in there as well. I got to even look at the flyer. I don't think Providence is on there. It might be, but I got to get Donnie in there if he's not. That's the thing. There's so many folks. I'm forgetting what teams are even in there myself, right?
Yeah.
But, outside of a couple teams, yeah. I mean, we got basically all the big hitters, and I think it's gonna be a lot of data collecting for the kids. I think you're gonna see some matchups here, and you're gonna see some wins that might cause some early reactions. But we know that the state tournament's wrestled in February, so it'll be good for the bad. It's going to be good for kids to download some data and understand, hey, this is what I got to do. I got to adjust here. I got to get better on bottom. I got to get my lungs back. And then for the good, it's going to be like, hey, this is successful against this type of guy. What can we add on? What can we do better next time? So yeah, it's going to be fun, fellas. I'm super excited, super nervous
For sure.
but it'll be good.
Now, when you said main gym and field house, same as last year, when you walk in, if you go to the left, that's the main gym, and then to the right. Well, okay.
Yeah, bring some lawn chairs though. I think it'll help for the seating purpose.
Yeah. All right, Sparty. Thanks a lot. We'll take care.
Fellas,
See
if you guys
soon.
ever got any questions on Marmion Academy, I know that people like to always come up with a lot of information. You guys feel free to invite me back on if there's any hot topics, because I think sometimes get misconstrued across the lines at times. So you boys ever got anything? I know you pretty well now. You reach out, all right?
Always good talking to you, Sparty. We'll see you.
All right, guys. Be good.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right, guys.
Damn. There goes my podcast ego again, man.
He's good.
He's good.
He's good.
He's good.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved it. Can we talk about Mark and that fish? Did you really catch that fish?
That's what I was wondering.
Quick, work was like, hey, we got a ton of work down south. And I was like, I've been telling him, you want me to go down south? Send me for a couple days. I'll just stay down there. I got friends all over the place. So
How come I know nothing about a fish? What are we talking about?
Right behind
Look at
me,
the one on the wall.
guys.
Oh,
To the room I'm in right now, I could show
I
it to you.
can't see.
So I'm at my buddy's, my college teammate Ryan Hennebree. He was a Lamont Bear. He plays for Lamont High School. He coached at Lamont for years. His son's in college right now, so I'm going to stay in his room for the next 3 days because we got a ton of work down here, and because I don't want to drive 2 hours home every day. But I've got like 5 ball pythons in cages next to me. I got a beard. I got a bearded dragon here. I'll show you this ball python.
I'm not a reptile guy at all, man. Yeah,
No,
no way.
pass.
Here,
Yeah.
a snake in here, a snake in there, a snake in there.
It's no wonder he's still single.
Hey, I had a ball python in college. Girls loved it. They were they loved it. Trust me.
What was the one that Max Morin had at Iowa? He called it Miss Hiss. They had
No
one
idea.
too. Yeah, they had one in their dorm room.
Mine was called Mills, named after our dorm, freshman dorm. So, but yeah, so that fish is probably caught by my buddy or his son, not me.
Wait, hey, whoa. Truth or dare, we didn't do it last year, or we didn't do it last night.
Oh yeah, you know what? Hey, thank you, Jim. This is a great opportunity. So I will leave this in again, and I want to be specific about the interview with Sparty. What are you guys' takeaways hearing about the Marmion program, hearing about Sparty, meeting him for the first time, if it was the first time for you? Eler, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I mean, well-spoken guy. I mean, how you take an event from first year being as good as it was last year and double down on it this year. I mean, who knows what that event looks like next year? Is it the new Ironman?
Oh shit! Wow.
Yeah, that'd be a jump.
It's going that way. It's going that way.
It's definitely a very, very high end tournament, and it definitely is very good, especially for the 1A or 1 day event. So I love it. Jim, what was your takeaways?
I like the fact that he said they like the date revolves around being for the kids to be able to be home for Thanksgiving or be able to go to Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? I think that means a lot because I think Thanksgiving's aging out as far as like grandmas are cooking, not too many moms, right? So I think that's all aging out. Does that make, you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's aging out. Like, you know, moms are on Amazon and shit instead of in the kitchen, you know, right? So like, I think, you know, like there's only so much time left for grandma to be cooking.
Yeah, my mom. I think my mom's hosting this year. Where are you going for Thanksgiving?
But you're not a teenager.
I see.
I'm talking like teenage kids. You know, I mean, like the new moms.
Well, grandma's still around, right? Grandma's still
for now. But
I know that order food for things.
The new moms want to argue on the fucking internet about like equality in sports for girls and stuff. You know, when the percentages are 10% to, you know, it doesn't make sense. New moms aren't cooking.
So that was your takeaway.
That's my take.
Good.
All right.
Talk
Mark,
about taking a hard left turn.
Yeah, Mark, what was your takeaway from the Marmion coach's interview?
I missed a little bit of the beginning, I think. I wish I would have seen it all. I had a couple takeaways that really stood out to me. I liked the fact that Sparty said, like, our job at Marmion Academy isn't to build 4-time state champs. That'd be awesome in general if we could all have that. Our hope is that you stick it out. You trust our process. We've got a history, right? They've got a resume of showing evidence, kids who stuck it out and followed the path, ending up in having really good situations in life. So they're saying, hey, we're here to build people, and hopefully wrestling comes with it. But if you trust our process, we think in the end, it's going to be really, really good for that kid. I really like that part of it. I think the other thing I really liked a lot was when he talked about this one day event, the idea that let's just get this done. As a guy who went to Barrington in high school, it sucked having to starve for Thanksgiving. Why not go get one day and get a ton of matches, setting it up like they do at the Donnybrook, with the hope that it ends up more like the Carnahan. I don't think a lot of people in Illinois know how good the Carnahan is, but look it up. It's loaded. It's an unreal event. It's at Crown Point High School, which is right over the border in the region. But that's what they're trying to get it to right now. I think at some point you hit that, and then you can go in where Ealer was going with it, where the idea that you can make it similar to, could it be similar to the Ironman? I don't know. But they're in the process of trying to make it like the Carnahan, which is one of the best tournaments in the country. And that for a one-day event, I don't know that there's many better tournaments than the Cadet Classic year 2.
Yeah.
Good for Sparty Chino, Tony Cirincione, and anybody else that's helping build that event.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do send a lot of kids. They got that Mateus at, I'll say it wrong. I'll say the kid's name wrong as well, but Mateus at Dartmouth. How do you say it?
Dartmouth. I
mean, that's high end, right? How many kids are at Harvard? How many kids are at Princeton that went there? I mean, that's they're pumping these kids out into like, high level schools. I don't even know that he took enough credit for that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Jim, do you want to give a second round, or you're sticking with the women and the Thanksgiving comment?
Yeah. No, that's I'm on that. I'm on that, man. Make dinner, not decisions. That's where I'm at.
But what you were really saying in truth was that their number one reason is like, hey, let's not cut weight during Thanksgiving. Let's get a bunch of good matches before Thanksgiving and then go spend the time with your family.
Yeah, I love it. My takeaway, the fact that Sparty brought up a story from 14 years ago. I'm impressed by that. So
I wanted to see it so bad. I wanted to see you with like flipping your hair out of the way when you were talking. As soon as he said that, that's what I thought of. I'm like, dude, Dalton had a skater haircut. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I know, but I thought you did.
No, but I love it, and I think that is actually just another reminder of like how much impact that we make when we interact with other people, and it's really cool. I love it. I'm glad he's having success, and looking forward to this upcoming Marmion tournament. So we'll see you there, guys.
Cool.